man. Welcome to the Musicians Exchange Podcast, man. Welcome back to the Musicians Exchange Podcast Season 2. Glad to announce that we are now dropping Season 2, man. We here with another episode. I got some of my good homies with me. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'm Nice Burruss.
And I'm Howard Artis.
Indeed. You play what, Howard, and what do you play Nice?
I'm a drummer, producer, songwriter. Instrument-wise, pretty much just drums, keys.
Word. You? Nice?
Drums, keys.
Word.
Nah.
Many hats. This nigga nice.
Nah, I play what's needed, but I ain't no star at nothing but the keys, my voice. So I'm on my own movement, Ace of Hearts Music Group. That's just what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man.
Just singing a little playing.
Man. Well, yeah, man. Well, that's just a little bit about him. You know what I mean? I just wanted to give y'all a drop on that. But this episode, man, is pretty much, I give you this. The whole season is going to be about, we're going to go more in depth. Like season 1, we talked about different topics, kept it light, musician wives, lifestyle, musician's lifestyle, on the road, management, some of everything, relationships with God, friends and everything. So, at the end of the day, we're going to go deeper in season 2, man. So, meet Howard and meet Nice, and today what we're gonna rap about, we're gonna talk about expectation, man. Honestly, and we're gonna try to zero in on a few, subtopics like finances, relationships, and venues. But I'll let it jump from here wherever we want to go with it, man. Wherever we want to go as far as expectations. What do you?
Well, let me throw this out there. So as a musician, and this is just not even just as a musician, but in personal life, our expectations can be a sign of it can give us failure or it can give us success. More oftentimes than not, when you go to a gig, our expectations are kind of like up in the air. At least mine are, because you never know who you're really dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I ain't even talking about just the vendor. I'm talking about just the people that's around. My expectations is basically on me as far as what I know I can do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't put expectations too much on where I'm going and stuff like that. Right. It's more so me figuring out, okay, this is the atmosphere, whatever it is I have to do it, make a great name for yourself and leave. Like those are my expectations, you know what I'm saying? As far as personal expectations. And you always want to put your best foot forward. But me personally, I tend not to put expectations on any promoters or anything like that. The only thing I'm expecting them to do is honor your contract.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's
and that's actually what I was about to say. I feel like that's my expectation. Yeah. Whatever we agree on,
at a minimum,
like whatever is said, whether that's a contract, a verbal agreement.
Yeah.
My expectations, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and give, excuse me, my expectations within that contract or that agreement. Like, here's what I need, for me and my guys. Especially when you talking about money and having to be responsible for paying for the guys, you know what I'm saying, and people done rehearsed and spent time. Like, as long as you can kind of honor those expectations, we should be cool.
Word. I mean, I agree, man. Same here. Expectations, like you said, I agree with you, Howard, man. Like, I agree with both of y'all, man. But it's just basically just honor whatever we agree on, whether it's a verbal or whether it's a written contract or anything. You know what I mean? Because that's a terrible situation, man. Like, it's one thing to have expectations. So I was going to ask, man, in the musician community, are expectations good or are they a setup for failure?
I don't think any expectations, quote unquote, are set up for failure. Personally, like, it's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just that's the industry we work in.
Right.
It's going to happen. You're going to have people who try to get over on you. You're going to have people that's late with paying. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have people who don't understand and want to lowball. So that's going to happen. But I feel like most expectations are realistic in the musician community, because we're already underpaid regardless.
Facts.
When you start looking at the hours that we put in perfecting our craft, studying music, buying gear, we're already gonna be underpaid. So at this point, our expectation is, okay, what can I be compensated for time wise? Right. Like, this gig considers me to do this amount of work. You know what I'm saying? These amount of rehearsals and, you know what I'm saying? This is taking up this amount of time, whatever the gig is calling for, whether it's a 30-minute gig or a 3-hour show.
Right.
Cool. Now I can give you a price based off of that. Like, those are my expectations when you start. So I don't think well, I haven't really heard like unrealistic expectations. Now, granted, we know a couple guys,
Right.
will try to hit you in the head, and,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I don't think our community has unrealistic expectations.
Okay.
Well, let me say this, because I like to do the devil's advocate thing.
Ah.
You know what I mean? Going to the expectations, are they good and bad? I think it's subjective and situational, because we do have working relationships with so many people, us being musicians,
Right.
and consistency is one thing, but when somebody fall off of consistency, you can't account for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like my expectations of that person is based off of what they did before.
Facts.
Now here's the catch-22. We throw resumes out there.
Right.
You know
So
what I'm
we
saying?
expecting you to deliver.
You feel me?
Facts.
So like, when we're throwing a resume out there, we're basically telling them what we did. But it doesn't necessarily represent what we'll do on this gig.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I'm dealing with, the expectation side of a contract, or, the promoter to me, I'm looking for the honor in the contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the expectation of it makes me look for it and look for them to do me the same way they did it last time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
this is where I feel like expectation could be a situation that messes you up, because we are emotional as musicians.
Facts.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so us seeing that expectation, our expectation is looking at character.
Right.
That's how we really do business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We do business based off of your character.
Yeah, that's true.
If you come to me and say, yo, John is a good promoter, yo, he paid money, he do this, my expectation is off your word, because you my
Right.
dude. You feel me?
Right.
So now the expectation is for you to do right. But what if he does me wrong?
Right.
That expectation has now set me up for
Right.
failure, because it puts it in a whole different playing field. If it was somebody regular, you know what I'm saying, I'd just be like, oh, they ain't nothing. People always do that.
Yeah.
But you can't recommend it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you came through
Right.
somebody that really I
But you
trust.
trust it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now my expectation really kind of dampens the moment. You know what I mean? Doesn't stop the passion of what I do.
Right.
But I feel like that's a harder hit versus it being from somebody I don't know that
Yeah, of
that
course.
stiff me on some money or something like that.
Right.
If it's somebody that, like I said, my boy told me you good.
Mm-hmm.
You solid.
Now you
yeah.
making my man look bad.
Yeah.
So now the expectation, us being so emotional, we'll fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll fight.
Yeah.
What if we end up fighting in the wrong place?
Yeah.
This is, I'm looking at the trickle
You
effects.
damaging everything.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The trickle
yeah.
effects of the wrong type of expectation that's set.
That's real.
And I think that's situational, definitely based off of the fact, like that scenario, a friend, or somebody that you've had, like, let's say, man, you got 20 gigs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You paying me each gig, and that 21st one.
Right.
And it's a bad one. Like, I'm not
Right.
talking about, you know what I'm talking
Right,
about.
right.
It's a bad one where,
Yeah.
like, bro, you disappeared. I couldn't even find you. and look, and then I'm out here in Timbuktu, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like some stuff like that. And you just hope it doesn't happen like that. But the reality of it is, it happens more
That's
often than
the
not.
industry we work in, man. Like I said, like people we know people that are like that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's just like a situational
Facts.
thing where it's like, yo, my bad, like me and the promoter, ticket sales or whatever.
Right.
It's like guys, it's like running off with the bag.
Yeah.
So it's
doing the door deals and all of that,
Yeah.
bro.
All
Like
that.
them gigs benched. Like, yo, we gonna get paid off the door in wings and drinks.
Well, that's done.
See, at this point, you know what? That's just speaking on what you were saying, like with personal expectations, like with being on the road for a long time and then dealing with clubs and venues like that.
Mm-hmm.
My personal expectation is to walk in dealing with one individual. Who is the one person I can go
Point of
to
contact
talk?
with.
Yeah. Because what happens is, like you said, you got that door deal situation.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 people giving you the runaround to the same 5 people. Oh, well, the promoter or the guy working the door or the head chef. You know what I'm saying? It's
My
like,
wife. Your wife ain't even on payroll. Why am I looking?
out of here before the show was over?
yeah, bro, and they already gone. So it's like, my personal expectation for me is just like, okay, cool. I got that one person to contact. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk to nobody else. Because
Right.
if something else happens, and then it's like you said, because you might run into them situations where we done 20 gigs together and it was sweet. And that 21st gig, something happened. I'm probably going to be a little bit more understanding.
Right.
But everybody ain't like that.
Right.
You know, some guys just
That's
like
the part.
I don't care.
Somebody
like,
gonna fall.
Yeah,
Somebody gonna fall.
So my personal expectation is more just like, just kind of come in with a balanced mindset. Anything can happen.
It's real.
That's dope. A balanced mindset.
Got to, man, because we like you said, bro, we deal with a lot of different situations, a lot of different people, and then you don't know who around watching. You don't know, who talking to who, and it could be a better situation.
That's
in
what I'm
that room.
saying, yo. I like the way you handled that situation. I can tell some stuff is readable. You know what I mean? Some stuff, everybody don't know behind the scenes agreements, but they can be like, look, bro, I don't know how you made it through that gig, bro, but you did it. You dug it out, kept it going. So
And you've heard that before. I think we've all gotten that person
absolutely.
that's paid attention to your character outside of, you know what I'm saying, behind your instrument, but behind your instrument, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they know, like, if it was any other place,
Right.
this could be totally different.
Absolutely. And granted, it don't mean I'm not gonna say nothing then.
Right,
It's just
right.
I got a more balanced
I'm
way
at
of
work.
trying to
I'm at work. My
But you
name
know-
and my character and reputation is on the line.
It matters.
Right, so I'm
It
just
matters.
let you
You're a
know.
musician. All right, so expectation comes with maturity and balance.
Yeah.
You just gotta balance it.
That's it.
Always consider that it's somebody in the room watching, and it could also be a potential better situation. So
Yeah.
choose wise how you handle that.
Now, let me ask you this. How do you handle it? Now, we have different stages. You feel
Facts.
me? So, like, I don't know if I'm a specific scenario, but let's say let's make up something. Jumped on somebody or something like that.
All right.
Oh no, let's do this. Like them old school pastors used to like to turn around and talk to you while they're but then would say something like, that's $25 because I know pastors that'll do that. That will straight up call you out on the mic, dock you on the mic while they're in the middle of a message.
Out of pocket.
So out of the expectation that you ain't supposed to experience that in church, me personally, I don't feel like that's godly. I don't feel like that's something I should be experiencing.
Flesh, bro.
But how do you deal with that?
Well, I have never dealt with the whole.
Me neither.
The pastor turning around. And now I've seen it. You know what? I'm gonna be honest.
You want to know how I
And
dealt with it?
I'm not taking a shot.
Look.
I'm not taking a shot at any genre when I say this, but there's a particular church genre
Good God.
that does that.
Oh my God.
And I've seen that happen to some of the homies, and honestly, normally mostly with keyboard players.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I play keyboard.
Yeah, it's normally mostly with keyboard players that
Go to the one. Yeah.
it's mostly them situations. It's just
Four.
But I don't know, bro. I mean, those kind of situations is kind of like, because if they
So
do
how
that
would you?
How
Like,
would I handle
how
it?
would you put yourself in that? Like, I'm talking about like it's packed. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Listen,
you know what I'm talking?
no.
No, we've seen those videos.
I'm talking about personally. Tell me how you would handle it. How do you think
am I
you?
gonna handle
How do
it?
you? Yeah.
It don't
me
even matter how
personally-
many people in the room though.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm
Right.
I'm
5
done.
or 100. Look, hey, now, my G.
At that point, I'm done playing.
Kinda-
My instrument cuts off.
Just
I'm
straight
done
up.
playing, and if I set up, I might be
that's-
liable to break down.
Oh
Right
yeah.
there. You know, and I'm gonna just wait for my money.
Yeah. Say less. I mean, in that situation, me man, it just I feel like it would depend on your growth at the time. Back in the day,
True.
I'd have been a high head. Like, you sure? You sure that's what you want? Okay. I done did it before. As a matter of fact,
Facts.
it's chess not checkers. Don't do that no more. I think that pastor learned, but at the end of the day, it's just like it depends on your growth, where you at. You know what I mean? Like, do I really want to make a scene in here, bro? Like when
Yeah, I
people know
want
that
to.
was a flesh move. Sometimes
I
you want to, but it's like
Should you? Should you?
Yeah.
want
Now
to.
I'm gonna be honest though, kind of playing devil's advocate.
Mine dude.
Let's be honest.
Uh-huh.
My boy said we are emotional. And we are. Could have had a bad day, long day.
Boy, look.
Rehearse with a praise team.
Good night.
They can't get their notes right all week.
Nigga hungry too.
You know what I'm saying? You been in service and rehearsal every night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And,
saying? If you got kids was turned up this
Look,
week.
man. Don't
Just a
talk,
little
don't
extra.
talk into my life like that. Don't think about
I'm just
life.
saying, and you get to church and you actually on time and you still doing what you're supposed to do and deliver, and he's in his feelings. My problem is if he does it publicly. If you do that across the pulpit or whatever your
know what you
platform is, when you do that instead of, just looking at me and just kind of making eye contact, like have that conversation,
Yeah.
or wait
Yeah.
Because whatever that moment is, that's that bad. If it's that bad, just tell me to stop.
Yeah, just that simple. You
But
ain't
that's
gotta
why I
do
said
make a
the
spec-
flesh
You know what I'm
rises.
saying?
Like when
So
you're
it's
trying to.
Yeah, so it's,
That's
if they got the guts
That's all I'm saying.
That's the thing.
to do that,
That's the thing.
you know,
They got the
publicly,
guts.
then
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the way I look at it is you disrespecting me.
And I'm a man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
It
a
don't
man,
matter if it's
like-
Yeah,
5
you
or 100. Disrespect is
I'm a
You
disrespect.
man.
disrespecting me, so
Sparta.
you know.
Look,
Yeah, so I can't let you, and then I can't let you feel like that's okay.
like it's
Right,
sweet.
'cause
Yeah,
you'll do it
yeah,
again.
Yeah,
You'll try it again.
yeah.
I can't let you
Yeah,
create
you'll try
that
it.
whole. Nah, you can't do that. Especially you talking about in a band set, and you doing that in front of, like he said, forget these instruments. We men.
Yeah, facts
Don't-
first.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Don't. So,
Making sure I can
You
feel
give
that
that
eye
look of
contact.
death.
yeah, like that situation.
I'm hoping there's some pastors gonna be watching this. Here. Don't do that.
Look,
Yeah,
look.
that's not cool.
Look,
It's a different generation of musicians too.
yeah, yo, yeah.
Very different. Different backgrounds.
It's an
I got
evolution of
homies
musicians.
back up top, man. Like when I was young,
Yeah.
sitting on the organ with his 9 on his hip,
Yeah. 'Cause
and
it-
you know,
I mean, I do
I
that
ain't
now, so.
encouraging or condoning, but you know, it's just
Listen, I'm
musicians are different.
at an AME church, and we have an armed police officer at the door because of what happened in Charleston.
Oh wow.
And so us being the sister church to that church brought a lot of alarm
Right.
to the church. And of course it happened some time ago, but you know, there are plenty of musicians in that in the AME church that do carry. I'm pretty sure of it. I mean, why am I just talking about we carry?
Pretty much.
We carry. Like
Pretty-
that's just what it ain't no sugarcoat that. Don't play with us. Like just that's
Pretty
just that
much,
simple.
yo.
You don't know who you're dealing with.
And it's not even necessarily that we carrying for the gig.
No,
Yeah,
no.
at
this point,
it's
like,
just
we
our
just kinda-
lifestyle. how
Regular
we are,
protection,
you know,
yeah.
we
We
everywhere.
We live, like the temperature of the whole world is different right now.
It's
Facts.
totally
Especially here.
different.
So
Facts.
you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, man. I feel like, you know, expectations as far as musicians, we done, you know, do a few nuggets out there, you know what I mean? As far as relationships with, like we were talking about, with pastors, with venue owners, with promoters, even outside personal relationships, expectations. What are some expectations? Like, we expect our ladies to, yo, look, bro, we got a gig, bro.
Yo.
You know,
Ooh, the expectation of
Canceling
her
a date
being
night.
at the gig.
that too.
Yeah. You got to know your place at the gig. Like this ain't
That's
your
a good
gig.
one. That's a good one.
This ain't your gig. Like I get it. You know what I'm saying? We have a life together. But you got to understand when I invite you somewhere as a musician that where I'm working at, I'm still working. Like I love to see your face. I love to interact with you. But my comfort is in knowing that you're willing to even come.
Facts.
So, you know, for that, I feel like, and it might be a selfish thing, but for me, it should be like, you know, all eyes on me type deal. You know what I'm saying? Simply because me as an artist, I want you to see something anyway. I want you to enjoy me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm kind of performing for who I bring. Like, if you think about it, if I invite somebody, it's like I'm performing for y'all too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want you to play the part. Like, not just the person that's here as a patron, but the person that's come as entourage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I need you to know how the etiquette of being with someone that gigs and is around, especially in the secular world. You're around nothing but women. Like, you know, opposite sex. Women around nothing but men, men around nothing but women. That's how it rolls. So I think it's really key. I think somebody needs to teach a class to the I think somebody needs to teach a class like how to carry yourself outside of the musicians, outside of the confines of the bedroom.
Pull up, don't say nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
like not don't say nothing. Look out for the best interest.
Yeah.
Because my shorty, you know what I mean. She helps at the end of the gig carry the gear. You know, she
Yeah.
got the ring for
Champion.
a reason. You dig?
Champion.
Like it's rare you gonna see that, but it's also don't be out there getting jealous.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's a really. Look, man. For me, I feel like these situations depend.
can't go nowhere.
Yeah, look, bro. They depend. It depends on who you dealing with
True.
and what y'all got going on.
Facts.
Because, and this is, I guarantee you, there are some women who are like, all right, cool. They might show up, help with the, gear,
Right.
supportive. You got a towel? You need some water?
Right.
that don't mean she's gonna do it if y'all just had an argument in the car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that may or may not have anything to do with the gig. Now, granted, I gotta give balance. You know, on behalf of the musicians, obviously we're like, yo, I'm at a gig, you can't do that. You know, place of work, you get me in a different headspace. But whatever for a reason is justifiable. So it's kind of like
I guess that accountability on our own personal behalf has to come into play because that's one of the egoism. It's something.
It's one of them things. It's like I feel like, and this is speaking more so to. Let's take a second and talk about separating ourselves from the instrument for a 2nd, right? Like
facts.
Just as not just not just being musicians, but actually kind of like what we just hit on a little bit, just being men. And being accountable as men and actually dealing with the relationship aspect, our mental health, our physical health, like what we got going on,
and what we need to do.
Yeah, because I think a lot of things, or one of the things rather that we're dropping the ball on is understanding like us being on our instrument is literally not that long of a time of the day
at all
compared to you actually living.
We prepping.
That but it comes out in what you play. Or what you sing, or how you know what I'm saying. That's the emotion. All of that stuff is. So it's kind of like, you know what? Let me get this together.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably gonna play a little bit better, or be a little bit more focused. Right. If I didn't just get out of the car and have an argument, or if I didn't, you know what I'm saying.
And I'm dealing with that right now.
It happens, bro. You know what I'm saying. So it's kind of like, you know what? Let me try and deal with this.
That's another level though, because I never had them problems before, when I had a shorty, just regular. I got a wife now. You get into it, bro, get to the gig, like, yo, cuz, I just finished arguing with this joint, bro. Like, why? Why I'm at this gig, I was ready to kill. Now I'm like, I'm ready to get it over.
Go on.
The drums don't feel the same, don't sound the same, music not as fun. And it's like, yo, you really got to clean that up. Like, I just put up a post, you know what I mean, joking around, like, shout out to Joe Riley, my big bro or whatever. I said I blame him for teaching me or making me play clean.
I saw that.
Archie turned around, put up a crazy nugget, you know what I mean, some wisdom, like, yo, not only when you play clean, bro, it's like, all of that comes from inside.
Absolutely.
And I never looked at it like that. It made crazy sense, though. And it's just like, yo, you at peace somewhat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I've been at peace for a minute then. So it kind of made me like, yo, bro, it ain't never that bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, granted, there is a way, like, because at the end of the day, what we're saying is our instruments are outlets to channel that emotion.
Definitely.
So, because now, granted, we can have real bad days and go in there and kill because we getting it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm frustrated, but this is some type of solitude. For me right now. But sometimes, like, and especially the older we get, I'm starting to learn, like, it don't always work.
Bruh.
You really got to I got to.
So is that more safe to say it's the older? I think that do come with the age, bro. Like, cause that's how it's been.
When you're younger, I feel like, not that your situations aren't as serious, but it's easier for me to just sit down and play drums for 2 hours. And I'm good.
About that now.
It's a little bit different.
And you got responsibility.
Because
real life stuff going on.
Child support's still gonna be.
I actually have to get this check.
I got to, bro.
I
can't even turn the gig down no more. I'm mad. Don't worry about it.
It don't work like that no more, bro.
The stuff you don't want to do, you got to.
So it's different. And so once you kind of, the key is really, I had a show this weekend. Shout out to Zoo Crew and Alan Thompson. We was having a conversation, man. The homies in Durham, and we were at a venue, and sound check was frustrating, right? Couldn't get sound right. Couldn't, it just didn't feel right. And their music is feel. It don't always feel the same if I can't hear the guitar line.
Right.
Right here that's painting this picture. I don't feel right. So it's one of them situations that Alan made a comment like, yo, I'm really working on like basically strengthening, like, when those situations happen, it don't affect like how I channel. You know what I'm saying? And what comes out. Like, I'm still trying to get to a point of actually, and hearing him say that sparked another conversation with me and another friend. And I was basically saying, like, yo, that's I don't think that ever stops. I think that's an ongoing thing. That's something that's like you kind of figure out for yourself what works for me, what puts me in my space. So no matter what happens, like the drum head's busted or
I'm still
the sound is terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've kind of gotten to that place where it's just like, man, I'm about to sit down and play these.
And just go get them.
Facts.
Just go
You
get
know,
them.
I'm about to, because and some of that comes from, especially when you're writing.
Yeah.
And you get like writer's block.
Yeah.
You got to really learn how to like, okay, let me just leave that alone. There ain't nothing I can do.
There ain't
about
nothing you can do about it. Roll out, bro.
Yeah. Can't do nothing about it.
Roll out.
So let me
It's
figure
over.
out how to be in the
Same
space.
line. You can be on that same line.
Yeah.
2 cats and a bird.
Yo.
It ain't working.
That's
Ain't
real.
working. So it's like it's one of them things. Man.
One cat, 2 birds.
Yeah, it still ain't working,
Yeah,
right?
bro. So it's like one of those things you got to figure it out, and once you do, you know, you good.
Yeah.
So now I don't like the only thing that frustrates me, and that's because it's a pet peeve with sound check. It's like time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I feel like the band before us is like, or if the sound is good, and the band before us is just like, you know what I'm saying, taking too much time. Outside of that. That kind of thing, something going wrong on the gig, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody playing something wrong, this and the third, like, he already played it wrong.
You can't go
Not
back
gonna be
to
mad,
that.
but I'm just like,
Just look at oops.
all right, bro.
Yeah, give me the stuff, bro.
You know?
Slipped up right there, didn't you?
But outside of that, it's just like, you know, you gotta figure that out. But that, like you said, man, all of that stuff starts from, you gotta be
Inside,
okay.
yeah.
Man, you gotta be okay.
Which goes to the next part, stepping away from the gig
Mm-hmm.
and finding something outside of what we do to basically be our place of solitude. You have to have something outside of music that's a place of solitude.
Facts.
It just doesn't. Music is wonderful. I wouldn't take anything from it, but it's not the only thing that we as musicians and as artists can separate ourselves from common people, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that as arrogantly as I want to and feel like it, because we're a different type of people. You can't be like us. You can go YouTube all day and try to learn all this stuff.
Facts.
But if you're not a real musician at heart, you're not going to understand what any of us are talking
It's gotta
about.
be in you.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying?
it's 10% of the instrument, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You be crazy to realize what you signed up for.
Right?
Once you know what I mean,
Once you
done
get in
invested so
there.
many years, bro, you like, yo.
Y'all want to do this?
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really gotta want to do it.
Y'all want to do this? That's like pastors, you know. I always used to hear it all the time. Like, people always come up, I wish I was doing what you doing. I'm like, I live with a pastor. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't wish that on nobody that don't.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because
just
our industry is so unpredictable. Bro.
Right.
It's like the very first thing we talked about for the most part was like business, and the key situation that we all kind of related to with expectations was getting gypped on money.
yeah,
But that's what I was saying. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, so our expectations, I feel like it's 50-50. I feel like it's like what you said. Y'all said go into the situation like, look, I'm going to still do me regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to let you down at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to have expectations because that's business. That's part of the business side.
And I think if you don't set some sort of expectation, you'll be someone that's ran over.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you down with just
Yeah, you
spare
just
the moment
yeah.
stuff.
It's like
Yeah.
oh whatever, you know. You so lackadaisical about something that really affects a multitude of people that's playing with you. You know what I'm saying? Because the decision on the head, especially me having to be the one that books the gigs. If I was like, and this goes to the negotiating the pay. You know what I'm saying? If I was a punk, they wouldn't want to deal with the morale of the band.
Right,
It just
right.
wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't go well. And so I think for me, that's the part of the expectation that I set. It's like, I'm going in here to book something. They've already shown interest. I have to land it, though. You know what I'm saying? So my expectation, I've set my bar.
Right.
You know, once ain't nothing going underneath that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Once I get there, that's it. We can't do business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that's the part that kind of builds that character in the musician world, because that's also two different entities too. Character outside of being a musician and then the character behind this instrument, and the business side of it. Let's put it that way. I feel like it's a lot easier for us to set an expectation that's realistic and abide by our end and keep the expectation up on the promoter or whoever is paying us or whoever we're gigging with.
Right.
But the issue of that is, which goes back to, yo, bro, like, I got burnt off of it. You know what I'm saying? So the part that you need to keep focusing on is going back and actually getting that situation rectified, basically. We'll let somebody burn us and won't really say much. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Expectation strengthens your communication.
You know what I mean? That's bottom line. So if I could go up after you done did this and lay law down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
because it's not supposed to go unsaid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big problem. We let people do it over and over again. These club owners letting no one
I
ain't
got
getting
homies
no time.
that have been killing, bro. Not even to cut you off, and then be like, yo, go ask for the money.
Right.
You gigging more than me, bro.
Right,
you
right.
don't know how to handle this already.
Right.
You need to be able to do that.
Well, that kind of speaks to. So I feel like that happens for two reasons, right? I feel like nobody really taught about how to handle that.
Right.
We were just kind of like, if you really, well, I know for me, right? All of us, we came up in the church background.
Right.
By the time we were able to gig on our own, right? Actually, not riding the church with our parents or our grandmother or whatever, we didn't really know. You know what I'm saying? How to handle that. And for the most part, our bridge, I know for me, was quartet. And that's one of the most stifling sides of it. Well, in my experience,
Right.
I probably got stifled working in that circuit a little bit more than anybody, for real. To the point where they wouldn't even have a conversation. They just, don't pick up the phone. It was like, those situations. But I'm like 19, 20 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing in a Baptist church where you don't get paid. I only got paid during like convention time and stuff like that. Just I didn't know, what I'm saying, that you could even get money for playing drums. Then when it gets to a point where that's how I'm eating, I just had to figure it out. So it was some moments where I'm just like, I might not say nothing because I don't really know the situation. And I don't really know my point of contact. Right. Everybody getting me now. I got a little older, start 22, 23, and it was just like, I don't care who the point of contact is. I'm not leaving the venue.
Facts.
Yeah,
facts.
If that's got to come out of these registers,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
if I need to take some gear home,
I need that.
If that gotta go to work,
I need that.
I'll play, but for real.
I need that.
Look, we ain't condoning, but
But then I grew up. That was old. Like I said, that was younger. But then I.
It's a phase,
got to a point
man.
of being balanced.
It's a phase.
Yeah,
Look,
and you figure it out. But to speak to my point, I feel like it wasn't taught. And I just had a conversation with those same friends last night about paying it forward. Because now, like, anytime I'm subbing somebody out for a gig and I can't make it, I don't care who it is, I'll just go ahead and tell them, like, yo, here's normally how I handle the business. Like, normally, like,
that's real. Most cats ain't doing that now.
Here's who gets it. Yeah, you got to do it. And then, especially for, like, the younger homies, because it's like, yo, why am I let him have to deal with the same thing? First of all, I ain't even going to put you in that situation to go work with somebody that I feel like, ain't going to, because I don't like being that guy that's like,
my name on there too.
My name is on there,
bro.
So, but I'm gonna put you in a good situation. But you gotta kind of pay it forward and let them know, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Talk to such and such and such. When you do though, this kind of like how you come at them, or shoot them an email. Yeah. Include this. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna want a W. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
However they need to handle that situation.
Yeah.
Kind of like pay it forward and tell them what to do, because we really had to figure that. Like we figured it out on our own, bro.
Facts.
So it's one of them things where it's just like. And in my personal opinion, that'll strengthen the camaraderie of any circuit, of any area. You know what I'm saying? You kind of like
brings the confidence up.
Yeah, and everybody getting paid.
Everybody getting paid.
Look, we know Hey, I feel confident enough to ask for my money or ask how the business is gonna be handled, and even that church is totally different. With your approach as it is to a club or a lounge or a bar.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We spoke on integrity and all that. Yo, you wanna be, you know what I mean, not repetitious or repetitive. I don't know how to say it, but you want the venue to call you and your band back. Consistency, you know what I mean? So look, bro, if they, like you said, if the confidence is there, bro, it's love.
Yeah.
From the expectation. You know what I mean? Like, and you breaking it down for, like you said, the younger generation. It's how business is handled, blah blah blah. Go talk to Jack. And, get it before the gig, or let them know you need your deposit. If it's not there, you can't perform, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing
wrong with that at all.
It's structured, bro. You know what I mean?
That's it. But, it's such a big influx of people that don't know how to handle these things, that throw themselves in front of these promoters and stuff.
And this don't come with age.
Nah, I don't.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You 30 and you...
looking like you 10.
Yeah, like you in sound check and then you get down and don't know, what's owed to you.
Yeah.
Nah.
I tell you what, the whack dudes always know what's owed to them though. The musicians that.
They be the first ones packed up.
Yeah.
Yo, so with a check.
Yeah. What's your boy that wanted? How much he wanted? 400. What did you say he wanted 400? I ain't gonna call him out. You know.
How many songs he has with kids? The song.
What?
I mean, I'm just yeah. So boom, musicians. Make sure your expectations are not wild.
That's it.
Yeah.
Make sure your expectations match what you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let's be smart. Like, that expectations thing, let's talk about the church. Because one of the things I had a discussion about was about church sizes and stuff, and membership sizes. And a lot of times, you got a bunch of cats that go to different storefronts and smaller membership churches expecting... I might have to repeat all that, huh?
Nah, you clear.
You got a lot of cats that go to churches expecting them to pay this grand amount of money.
Yeah.
And the congregation doesn't suit that. You know what I'm saying? So they've set expectations on the ministry, that they can't, they might have been able to pay it when you first got there. Let's say that. And then maybe members left or whatever. In this industry, that happens. Happens. You're gonna have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And I think the issue is that's another place and I'm an advocate for the church, but I do know that the church comes with its foolishness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen the ones that's honest about it and say, well, we not, tithers ain't paying tithes.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, though. I think the key thing to that would be communication.
Yeah, and transparency,
and
too.
front.
If you really be honest about it, though, like, it might be a little different now, but I feel like that's never really been a common conversation that happened when musicians first get to a church.
Right.
Because what pastor is really gonna sit down and say like, hey, well, if I start losing members,
My church is bad.
or if if the church ain't tithing, they won't really. First of all, they never talk to you about the church's finances.
Right.
It was always about how much you're getting paid.
paid.
But now it's kind of like, well, it's a part of the culture. It's been happening for
I got
years.
a homie in a situation like that right now, dog.
Yeah.
Big church, you would never know. All you hear is that first $500 to $700 a Sunday, and you gone.
Yeah.
As long as they can do it for that first month, you thinking, all right, we good.
we
You gonna be
good.
good.
Yeah,
That's good that he said,
Yeah, but that would honestly help. That would keep everybody accountable if churches would just, because now you can kind of be honest about it. Just say, hey, look, here's what we're gonna, do XYZ. Here's what's in the contract. Now, granted, we don't work in the secular industry is different. If I have an agreement with this artist or this promoter or this venue to make this amount of money and that's in the contract, I need that.
Right.
I don't care if two people come.
It's not church.
Yeah,
It's
2,000 people
non-negotiable.
come.
Yeah.
But with the church, like, I get it because we're talking about a different arena. One, it's an emotional
It's a different
arena.
purpose. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's anything with a spiritual side of stuff. It's going to come with emotions too.
Facts.
People sometimes don't go to church. You know what I'm saying? I've seen churches they take. You know what I'm saying? Like declines during the summer because people going on vacations.
Yeah.
And I'm still looking for my check, but I've been seeing like the 9:30 service ain't sweet.
You
this
sure it
month.
was like 10
Yeah,
people,
you
dog.
pay attention to that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like
'Cause
I
that
get that.
affects.
Yeah, so it's like
But that's the thing. A lot of cats ain't paying attention. That saying common sense ain't always common.
Maturity.
I think that's one of the things that we don't pay attention to as often as we should.
Right.
The numbers don't lie, my dude.
Yeah.
Like,
In the church setting.
yeah, in the church setting.
Yeah.
Now, outside of that, you can put a contract out there and get your money one way or the other.
Cause I done seen some lit.
Yeah.
Yo, I done seen some lit bands come through some venues. I don't want to call them out because they lit, but and I'm like at the bar out. You know what I mean? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I hope this ain't no door deal. You feel me?
Right.
Like
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah,
too
yeah.
dope to be
To be just
getting
crumbs.
handed. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, granted, some of those situations I feel like depends on the situation.
Promo.
Because like you said, the band might be on their first run. They dope, but they just trying to
get
hit
more
every
people
city
out.
they can, so they willing to take a. And then at the end of the day, let's be honest, venues ain't really most venues depend on their bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like honestly, the majority of them
Yep.
are going. You're going to depend on people coming in and drinking, not necessarily buying a ticket. Because let's keep it 100.
That's
Men,
just one
for the most
price.
part, yeah, we really don't buy tickets.
No.
Yeah.
Musicians don't buy tickets.
Nah, leave it back open, G. Like,
You know what I'm
for
saying?
me
I wish
and
I
my
would
girl.
get
yo.
charged.
If we buy it, yeah,
And I wish you would charge me.
yeah, and for the most part, if we buying tickets, we really want to take this girl out.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
real.
you know what I'm saying? And
That's real.
we gonna drink. So it's like,
Yeah,
hey, I'm
yeah.
just keeping it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like venues really don't make a lot of money off of ticket sales unless it's just an absolutely hot act. And for the most part, they probably gonna be at the bigger venues that don't have those problems. You know what I'm saying? The artists, they got a huge budget. The venue can afford. They know they gonna make their money back at the bar.
At the bar.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
exactly
So
what
they
they gonna
good.
make.
That's real.
So it depends on the situation to me.
So like you said, man, with the as far as bigger venues that don't have to deal with that type of stress or whatever or strain, does your expectations get better the higher you go in your career? So if you make it to like the BET Awards, I expect my business money should be handled. I expect my rider to be correct. I expect the band members to know their stuff. I know for a fact stuff happens on shows. It's never a perfect show. So.
I was about to ask, are you speaking in regards to like the gig that you're on that platform, or are you meaning like as a whole, like anywhere I go?
Nah. Well, when you're on that platform, when you're on that level, as far as you're doing world tours and like where you ain't got to worry about backline.
I feel like it still depends on the situation, bro. When I say industry, I mean our industry, like the actual music industry. Because I got homies and I've done big gigs like that where it's just like
you hear the stories,
and I had to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Honestly,
for them to
those
rectify
situations, yeah, a lot of times those situations are worse, bro.
Yeah,
because you think you're dealing with way more people.
I was about to say
the vendors at the if it's a stadium, you talking about mad vendors. You talking about people with merchandise. You talking about. You know what I'm saying? Who had
one check?
You know what I'm saying? Who's actually signing all the checks? You got a hell of a lot of workers setting up for the show, backlining the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The staff.
You got to go through record labels.
Yeah. It's a lot of different. And most of the times, like most of the stories I've heard where homies getting burnt on those kind of gigs, they really burnt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You talking about playing for a week, and like your stipend is cool. But we ain't got our check from playing these shows, and we rehearsed, SIR for 3 days straight. 10-hour days, like, and still waiting on bread, and they got a contract.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like the higher up you go, because you dealing with people who
got that power behind them too.
Yeah.
They can stall you, buddy. They can stall you.
So it's kind of like it's one of those things where it's just like it depends on this. Honestly, my expectation don't change. I'm gonna still keep them. That's why it's like speaking to his point. You got to have your own personal expectation because even to our other point of how we affect it when we play.
Yeah,
it's one thing to go in and you ain't you got gypped on 100. It's a whole nother
couple racks
when it's 25.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different animosity.
Yeah, it's a lot more bigger in them strokes.
It's a little,
Never heard nobody bang it.
It's a little bit different.
I seen a homie put up a post, man, just the other day, which made a lot of sense. Musician, man, up north. He was like, "Look, bro, y'all can have the hype with the arenas and all of that. That's cool. But I can make more playing for a wedding band and take care of my household. Granted, it's your preference. Doing corporate situations,
consistency."
For 4 hours than I would going on a sound check at 10 a.m. and then hitting at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And you tied up all day.
Now, I'll say this, right? Because we got a lot of corporate bands out here in the Raleigh-Durham area. It's definitely preference. Because, granted, I know the money's going to be there, this and the third. Me personally, I can only do but so many of those, bro. I can't do. Oh my God. I can't play top 40s all the time.
I was done last year, bro.
It's gonna drive me, bro.
Listen,
it's gonna drive me crazy, bro. And I don't knock it, because like the corporate money is gonna always be there. But I can't. I can't get into it, bro. Like on a regular basis, and I don't knock any of the home. And I've done it.
It's wear and tear, bro.
But
I think that's the difference. It's a lot more wear and tear.
Yeah, in my younger days, I toured with Motown band.
Well, y'all, let's keep it 100 too.
Yeah,
it's boring too.
Yeah, let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you what got us by it though. What got us past it? Because I was with a bunch of fools.
Yeah,
I think
you have
that's
more,
the best
you have
part
more
about
fun
being
on
with
the road than
musicians.
playing.
Absolutely.
I think our jobs,
Yeah.
as far as a collective, when we out together, it's
Yeah.
a lot better than.
Yeah,
I
who you
wouldn't
on
trade
the
it for
gig?
the world.
You know what? That's a good point. That's
Yeah.
actually might be another episode.
Yeah, that
who
has
you on
to-
the gig with? That makes a huge
A
difference.
huge
Yeah,
difference.
the camp definitely because
The camp, dude.
But yeah, I couldn't do. But I get his point though. Like I get the frustration of dealing with, especially if he was like doing like bigger venues a lot and getting gypped.
But
'Cause
that's
a
like
lot
you
of
said,
time, a
that's
lot of money.
preferential though, like you said. That's straight
Yeah.
up.
it's straight preference.
So yeah, so I
Because
get
some
it.
cats
but I-
love arenas, bro. Look,
Yeah.
that's less you got to worry about. I ain't got to break no drums down. I ain't
Just
got to
come
do
in and
nothing.
play.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, like that's for a musician. Like just if we're just talking musician, that's the dream.
That's where you're going to.
You know what I'm saying? We want to play the arenas. We want to play the,
That's
you know.
preference, but that's the
Yeah,
dream.
that's
Like
what
you
you
Yeah,
said.
it comes with it. But see, that's my thing. Like that's where I feel like, well, I take advantage of the opportunity now to like, I'm not an OG. I'm not OG.
Right,
But to
right.
pay it forward because a lot of the big homies then they won't telling us that. Like they won't
They're
telling
not
us.
even moving out the way, dog.
Yeah, and they weren't telling us like they were going out for 2 to 3 weeks and came home with no money.
Yo, all the wheels up
Like,
pictures and
You know what I'm saying? It was more so
That's
they still
it,
wanted
bruh.
to uphold the
Wheels
image
up.
and
that's
that's
what these podcasts about, bridging the gap, son. I can't do the fronting. I can't do the babe, I ain't got the mortgage this month.
Can't. It's not something that's
What
supposed
you mean, bro? First off, she even letting you go on tour, not letting you because it's
she's
you run the
understanding.
crib, but
she's understanding
you
enough
know,
to
yeah.
deal with it. 'Cause
That's
exactly
tough.
what it is.
And it's not like that we were asking for, or that one generation is saying, y'all should have gave us this and gave us that. It's not. It's about information, man.
Yeah, that's it.
It's about
you
information.
ain't
You ain't
got
got
to show me
to.
how to play.
You ain't even got to
tell
get.
me-
You know what? You don't even got to get me the gig.
Yeah.
You ain't even.
No, I
you
got
don't
the
got to
rest.
put me on. Yeah, I'm cool. I can play. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna handle everything else. But tell me about like your experiences. Tell me how to actually have a relationship with an artist. And if I'm gonna be
That's
honest,
another episode.
help me to have a relationship with an artist and not be trying to smash all the time.
Yeah.
Can the church?
And don't get me wrong, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm single. I do my thing.
Yeah, like
But
that.
keep it
But
separate.
when it comes to like that,
Yeah, that's
like
business,
yo,
bro.
you know
gonna
what I'm
mess
saying?
up the
Like
business.
you need somebody to have a conversation with you. Be like, look, bro,
yeah.
I get it. She bad.
Bro,
Yo, I done,
She supposed to be. She the
Bruh.
artist that you working with. She the background singers. They gonna be bad.
Yeah.
They gonna be bad.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Do your thing, but I'm saying just don't jeopardize your name. I ain't even gonna say the job. Don't
Your
jeopardize
name.
your name because this gig will talk to the next
that
gig.
carries.
sure will.
And
They gonna
they'll
verify.
It's a resume, dude.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be that guy that's like, oh yeah, he killing, he can play, but he probably gonna try you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some
And I've
artists
said
like
it.
no, what happens,
I've
bro.
said it
and
in
artists,
sending somebody
and artists will not.
Yeah.
Cause he gonna be in my inbox.
in my
Yeah.
inbox.
You know what I'm saying? Saying such and such.
Oh,
and
my
so it's
God.
like one of them things like you got to know like
I don't wanna
my
talk about something
I ain't gonna
totally
tell a man
different
what
now.
to do, but you got to know when to shoot your shot when not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Keep
saying?
collecting
Like,
that check.
yeah.
Shut up.
Just get the money, bro.
God,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's go get the bag. You know what I'm saying? Build a relationship because it might.
And get
This is
your
gonna
sight
sound
seen.
crazy, but you might get put in a better situation
Come
where you
on,
got
man.
more options
Come
to do
on,
that.
man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to play for an artist and be trying to like link up with who's on the gig, but why not get to a point you playing with an artist where they gonna have you at the after party anyway?
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
much
you-
that could come from this.
yeah,
If you
bro.
play
So
it
it's
right.
like you gotta, but that's information, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like that's my experiences. But I've also I have had some big homies to tell me like, yo, like you gonna work with her. I'm gonna go and tell you what she gonna have on.
Yeah. Yo.
I've
Let
had
alone
homies
being the drummer, bro.
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
telling me this.
I don't know how CJ was doing. Boy, I went to that show, cuz at the Ritz. I said, whoa. And it was a 2-piece, son. I was like, yo, you on tour with her? Like, nah.
Like that.
Yeah, bro.
And she looked back like, yo, why you always smiling every time I look at you? And I'm just looking at you. You know, he don't speak like that, bro. I was just like, oh, my. The Lord ain't see fit to make me mature enough to take that gig. You know, not take the gig, but, you
I
know,
get it.
put me in a position
I
like
get
that,
it.
you know.
I done had
Granted,
mine, so.
it's gonna happen, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. It's gonna happen. I've just learned. It's just, in my opinion, if you don't feel like it's gonna be a longevity type situation,
Yeah.
if it's
no.
just now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna keep it 100. If the artist, if
If
that's
she
what they
down
own,
with this,
I understand why some people fall into it, but I just, at the end of the day, she's the brand.
Exactly.
the brand,
If she
that's
ain't
it.
planning on staying
So-
being an artist,
thank you.
Yeah, so she ain't gonna lose her job.
Yeah.
She is the job.
Yeah.
Like, You can.
Yeah, but don't work her.
Yeah.
Do
Exactly.
not work her. She did the job.
This nigga nice.
Don't.
Yeah, bro.
leave
Like
her.
it's you gotta be. It's information, man. Like that's just
Facts.
certain things that you should talk.
And that's just
about.
going into a gig with the wrong motives too. I think once again that maturity side of it. When you get a certain, I mean, now granted, we got some cats our age that's still doing their thing like on that.
We got cats
On that
older
whole
doing
stuff,
that.
Yeah,
But-
looking terrible.
But I think the motive is just wrong in those scenarios. I think you just need the motive needs to be right. If we're doing music, and granted, not everybody we play for gonna be the best artists. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
Right.
However, us on this stage together, we're representing each other.
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? So, whatever comes before and after or in between, we have to be able to be accountable for it, number one. But we need to make sure that it's professional.
Facts.
Keep it legit professional. Because once you step outside that,
It's
it don't
over.
matter what you
It's
say.
over.
Once you step outside and say the wrong thing,
Yo, and some camps is real stiff like that.
real stiff.
They looking for you might can play, but if you a cornball or
man,
you just real bold and
That's the
disrespectful,
that's the one.
Oh, you thirsty?
Yeah,
That's the
pictures and
Or just the the name dropping and
That's the thing.
like you're already on the gig. Why are you name dropping?
yeah.
I'm here.
You on the gig. Why are you name?
Or do you hanging around? Let's talk about that. Let's talk
Oh.
about hanging out, and you name dropping just to kind of like
stop doing
What
that.
can I do for you right now?
yeah, basically.
My mind about that name dropping stuff is like, you name dropping in front of me and I'm partying. Like, I'm not even in the mentality to listen to that. You know what I'm saying?
Energy. We don't talk about musicians. Don't talk about their instruments
you.
when they first walk up. Like, bro, what?
Yeah. See them legs. That's what I was
That's
like,
normally like
What we about to eat? Nigga walking to me talking
like we
about
said,
drums.
Yeah, bro, we're on our instrument 10
Yeah.
to 15% of the time, bro. The rest of it, I'm living like I'm.
living.
You know what I'm
Do
saying?
you
So
like
it's kinda
Raymore
like,
Evans? Bruh.
I don't like.
Bruh.
See, and honestly, I feel like there's no excuse for those type conversations anymore. Now,
Small
granted,
talk,
we
bro.
could talk gear if we gonna talk gear, but I feel like social media has killed all that. You know what I play, bro. You seen my page. I've seen yours. I know.
And you
that-
say something on my page.
Yeah,
like, we
like-
interact.
So it's kind of like one
Step
of
your
them things.
networking up.
Yeah, you don't have to do that to like,
Right.
but some cats do it. But I feel like, man, that's.
How do you feel when people jock you? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you know
What you
what I'm
mean,
saying? Like, you on a gig and they your best friend all of a sudden. Like,
Oh,
how do you feel? Like,
I remember a lot of situations, bro. Like when I used to see cats, like I seen Sput, bro, at the poorhouse, and my communication won't up, my networking won't up like that. I wasn't nervous to go talk to him,
Right.
and I don't think ain't nobody that high.
Right.
But it was like I didn't know what to say, and I definitely wasn't about to go talk about no drums. So I just said, look, bro, I just ain't gonna say nothing.
Right.
I'm gonna take this L on this opportunity
Yeah.
to network
'Cause it'll come
until I
back
learn how
around
to
if it's meant.
exactly.
so you figure, yeah. And see, you know what's crazy, bro? See, that's why I wish we one had platforms like this a long time ago. But then two, we did have like older guys to take more initiative to tell us how to handle those situations. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. My first run in with Spud was through Archie, right? And Archie actually like, yo, you need to like Archie was like, yo, you need to meet him because y'all real similar. Like y'all remind me da. So I'm like, okay, bet. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm stoked because he really is a huge influence.
Right.
But I'm already like, I ain't the cornball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We
So I walk
colleagues.
up. I'm gonna tell you how my first instance with Spud was. Archie introduced him to him like, yo, it's my little bro, killing drummer, da. Whatever. He daps me up. He's like, oh, that's what's up, bro. Like, you play drums? I'm like, yeah, bro. And he's like, oh, you killing. I played the humble card. This was like probably 6 years ago. But I played like, oh, no, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm killing. He was like, bro. Spud looked me in my face and said, bro, don't say that again.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
He said, you're killing, bro. Take that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Real
literally
talk.
what he said to me.
Real talk.
And since then, I was just like,
Yeah, cause we like to play that humble
Yeah,
card, man. But that ain't.
yeah.
You
but
can be humble, but
It's certain arenas to do that in.
Yeah, but me being the age that I was at that time, it was more so like a because I knew I was starting to like, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, what I was becoming, but I didn't want to come across as, I'd rather play that card than to come across as an asshole. Right. I don't want to be that guy. So I was just like, you know, but then hearing him say that, they basically just kind of showed me how to have that first conversation when you meet a guy like that.
That confidence is needed.
Yeah, so it was, you know, it was cool, but that was my first run in with bro, because I was going to do the same thing. Yeah, I was just like,
that's really
not
dope.
Gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying?
That's really
and it's
dope.
crazy because Archie even introduced me to just recently Brian Fraser Moore.
Oh yeah,
I said I'm not running. Like, nigga, what? Yo, I appreciate you, bro. Big influence, man. Keep it up. You know, blah blah blah. We from the same way. You know, how was the show tonight? You was in town. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I met this man and he's one of the top cats in the industry at the level that I'm trying to get. Mm-hmm. He was mad chill.
Because the thing is, man, that's the thing. They're regular guys, bro.
Talk regular.
They're like. We all put our pants on just to like. So, and now, granted, you know, some guys can be, but for like, I'm starting to see like for the most part, and honestly, I think what has to do a lot with it too is at the end of the day, people are killing at way younger ages.
A lot of,
you know what I'm saying? Like bro, my 12-year-old watches YouTube all day, soaks it in, and spits it back out.
Sponge.
All day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they're just killing now. So it's like you really don't got room.
Right. Yeah.
And with the industry that we work in, with all this bad business we just talked about, you will get replaced at a cheaper budget.
At a cheaper price, buddy.
So it's kind of like it's not really a whole. Now, granted, some guys, you know, they got a solid gig, they gonna be like that, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, it's like, nah, you really don't got room to. So most of those guys, but we didn't know that, one, because we didn't grow up in social media, right. So we didn't see these guys on the regular and feel that comfortable when we meet them. It was like they were stars in our eyes. Like to act. My first conversation with Brian was when he started doing BFM consulting, right? I called him, had a conversation with him, and I paid for like a 15-minute slot. I talked to Brian for 2 hours.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's that kind of guy. He was kind of like, nah, bro. Like, I know, you don't pay, but like, ain't no rush, man. I just like, look, man, I want to get guys on the phone. He was like basically creating an opportunity to give the information away.
Yo, that's how he come off, regardless, and that's how he is, though. That's the crazy part.
And most of those guys are
he said what?
Well, nah, like for real, Brian talked to me about like
everything outside.
Man.
We ain't even talking about instruments. Like,
legit.
Yeah, brain talk, bro.
I ain't hear the name.
Brian Fraser.
Brian Fraser.
I think y'all talking about drummers. Like,
oh no.
Let that go.
Brian Fraser. Nah, bro. We talked like we might have talked 10 minutes gear, like just on some, and that would literally be like if he was talking about a tour, and he would say like what he was using. But we honestly that came from talking about relationship with music companies.
Experience and everything.
Yeah, because that was actually why I had called. I had called to talk about a situation I had going on or whatever with a particular company, and I was like, you know what, I want to hear like how he would handle it. One, and then two, big homie told me to call him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. He was like, yo, I told Brian, you know what I'm saying,
reach out,
whatever, but like do it this way. You know what I'm saying, show that you really. So I'm like, cool.
Really about it.
I pay, you know what I'm saying? I'll pay. For him.
For the info.
Absolutely. So I did it. Like I said, bro, I still got notes.
Yeah.
Like I was literally like typing notes while he talking because he was just like dropping nuggets. But one of the biggest things he was telling me about was basically what we talked about. He was like, man, look, just don't be an asshole out here. He said, be a likable, like, be the guy when they talk about you, they like, oh, yeah, he's always smiling. Oh, yeah, like, I just like having him around. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Brian was like, a lot of the gigs that he's maintained, because the artist wants him, they feel comfortable when they turn around and see him.
Yeah, he's a friendly face.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I mean, if you think about it, man, we want to be around people that's not threatening.
Well, I gotta work on that. Well, I had to. I used to. my resting face is regular. Nigga, I'm chilling. Like,
I will chop you up in the
I'm gonna have fun. We're gonna try to deliver. You know, not try, but we're gonna deliver. But
mine was too, bro.
I had to grow out that.
Yeah. I can't relate.
Nah, you always been a joke. I got to the point now where it's just like, but you know what's crazy? It starts from the inside, like we talked about before. Once I started figuring that out, I started smiling more, and I'm like, I'm joking more, laughing more, and started drinking a little bit more. But it helped me get to a point where it's just like, I don't have to be like, I don't have to mean mug all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and some of that came from me, you know what I'm saying, like the way we was raised.
And some of it is needed though. Like real
Sometimes,
talk, I
yeah.
feel like sometimes cats just will look at you and try to pick you apart just
Say
off
you
of
goofy,
that
yeah.
intimidation factor.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like sometimes there's a look about you that demands and commands attention and respect. And I feel like there are certain looks that are for that. Now you can understand and differentiate something from like somebody's being pissed off than somebody that's just in their zone. You know what I'm saying? Because I know plenty of times I've looked at people and been like, oh, he about to kill in a minute. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He ain't blunt his left eye yet. Like, he's going to kill. You know what I mean?
So, I agree, man. And then, I mean, to even use that as a segue, man, like, I feel like, we chopped it up, man. We chopped it up about, expectations with finances, relationships in different venues, from church to bars and all of that, and, consultants with, major cats in the industry, some of everything, man. Like, I mean, I was even going to go to expectations with endorsement companies, bro, but, I mean, what y'all think?
Honestly, my thing with that is the same thing we've been talking about. It's all about relationships, bro.
Exactly.
Like, my situations, a lot of people thought I was, like, endorsed, quote-unquote, with Sabian. Every time somebody tells me that, I'm like, I never really say I was endorsed. I said I was with the company, and that's because of how I met them. I was another big homie, Kendrick Morris, introduced me to Paul Salucci, who was responsible for signing like pretty much majority of the black guys at Sabian. You know what I'm saying? From Calvin to Brian,
right.
Jeff Davis. Like he signed most of those guys, and he took me over to him at a NAM. It's like, hey, me and Terrell Moody, who is out here killing right now with
on every show.
Yeah. So it basically took me to the booth. Introduced to him, like, hey, Uncle Paul, these are my little bros. They killing. They next up and coming.
Yeah.
Built relationship with them. Never got a contract. Never got anything. They took me out to dinner that night.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I know that was because like we weren't over there like, oh, I want to do
Feeding,
this,
yeah.
I want that, this, that. We just had conversation,
right
just
place
talk.
at the right time.
Yeah,
And soaking in.
yeah. So that's all I did. He emailed me, was like, hey man, what you play? And I'm like, I play this.
He was like basketball.
Right, like,
He
see,
emailed me back like, what do you want to play? I said, okay, cool. Send it to him.
and that's it. Emails and
bro.
all that.
Yeah, bro. And then I maintained that relationship by just
Right.
staying in communication, like not asking for stuff.
Checking in.
Right.
Just, hey,
Just
like,
say
what's up? And still buy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, now granted, if you get, let's talk about the levels of endorsement. Some people, nobody really gets 100% anymore. Let's be clear about that.
It's a
But
wrap.
if you got like an A list or a B list or a C list, it's just percentages.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even if I got an A list percentage, the least I can do is, okay, let me not just get 2 symbols.
Right.
Let me make, you know what I'm saying?
it work.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying, looking out, vice versa. That's how you get to the situations where it's like, hey, we trying out some new da-da-da-da-da. I want to send it to you right quick. Let me know what you think.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? And I was never, quote unquote, on the roster, but Paul would do that. He would send me stuff, bro.
Wow.
Hey, try this out. Brian had the money for that, bro. I told
Right,
you I
right,
got
right,
child support.
Right,
Like,
right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, my boy was just looking out, like, but
Right.
that was the relationship. Same thing with like with any company, man. Like, for the most part, I feel like expectations with endorsements is to first not feel like you're gonna get stuff for free.
Bottom line, that's
That's
it.
Like,
it.
you know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion, it's dope if you get on with a company that you weren't playing. You know what I'm saying? My thing with that is make sure they got something that you play
Facts.
or that you
yeah,
would play.
don't be settling.
Have a
That's
thorough
the thing.
conversation. Don't just get signed just to be signed. Like, play what you
play
want
what
to
you want to play. Yeah, a lot of cats give up.
Yeah, and so I mean, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I could pay 70% for symbols, I'd love to. But like, I've got those situations on the table now, and I'm just like,
They not giving me what I want.
Right.
and I need that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? One, to maintain the integrity of my sound,
Yo,
and you know what I'm
And
saying.
that's key. Boy,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
I'm
thing.
telling
That
you,
sound
bro.
is
Bro,
serious.
yo,
That's because that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this
my
nigga coming with the church symbols.
Like,
Every gig.
AAX is on everything.
Every gig. Oh, not
customs
no
on
fast crash,
everything.
no nothing.
On everything. It don't work all the time, bro. You
Nah.
need colors, you need variety. So it's like, but that starts with that company. Like,
Yeah.
if that's not a company you would endorse and they don't have what you would play, why you trying
Why
to
would
get
you?
one?
Yeah, just to say,
I'm
you know.
impressed.
that's
What's crazy
that's it.
That's a pet peeve of mine. That used to be a pet peeve, endorsements, blah, blah, blah. So I will ask you this because with this new season, I'm going to do every episode, man. Like, I'm gonna ask a question or I'm gonna get questions from my listeners or whatever. You know, people who tune in.
True.
They just want to, they want a few answers, and one of them was, what are some musician pet peeves? And we can end it on that one.
Pet peeve.
What are some of y'all's? I'll say y'all's. Yeah.
Door not being open when I get to the gig.
Come on, nice.
Can't find a promoter.
Yo, you there too early, nigga.
My bad. I hate that. Like, I hate that. Say I check at 1, I can't even get in. I'm outside at 12.
Look, well, I ain't expect this.
When you say pet peeves, wait, are you talking like on the gig, or are you talking like? That's a pretty big.
Stinking armpits.
On the gig.
Yeah, that's
it
a
can
pretty
fall
big.
under that. It can fall into any of that.
Bad hygiene on gigs is a pet peeve of mine. Like,
So
no,
you
real
do.
talk, though.
Okay, cool. Because a lot of musicians act like other niggas can't smell them, son. I be looking like, yo, dog.
Nigga, I smell niggas.
Or even the drum throne, bro. We
And
used to call
Will-
them ash thrones.
Okay, so let me help the guys clean this up a little bit.
Ass thrown.
So let me help the guys
I'm
clean
not
this
sitting
up.
on that.
So let's talk about it from a standpoint of professionalism.
Yeah.
You do need to make sure your hygiene is straight. And honestly, we ain't even just talking about smell. We talking about your
The
appearance.
appearance, the whole kick of
Because I get some gigs you want to be laid back, this and the third, but that don't mean like
Every
joggers and
Roll out the bag.
and J's all the time. Like
Oh,
at least
what?
at least jeans.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying, and some type of shirt, like some type of, you know what I'm saying,
Fashion somewhat.
Yeah, something. Bro, but I mean, yeah,
My pet peeve is working with someone that's just not prepared.
that sums all of it up.
And let's step outside of them being prepared musically, but our wardrobe.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
say
yeah.
we have an organized,
Uniform look.
uniform look,
Yeah.
and then all of us have on. You know what I'm saying? That's the listen.
Everybody got on black blazers
You know what I
with
mean?
black button ups, and you got on the white button up.
At least I wore white and black. Bruh, like
Yeah, I had to learn that too, bro. Like they used to get on me in the corporate band saying, "Yo, E,
gotta have a suit, man.
you know the white button up wasn't the same style as that." I'm like, I don't care. I got a blazer on over. It's black. We blended. Y'all got on white.
we blending.
But I definitely went and invested, in some more white shirts, more white button ups. But yeah, man.
And like he mentioned too, a suit.
Yeah.
You need a black suit.
You
man,
need a
'cause-
couple.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna do corporate gigs or you get called for a wedding gig. Now, granted, if you on a tour, and you know that's just not what you're doing for the next,
Right.
whatever, cool. But for the most part, if you're at the crib, I mean, you working, locally or, on the coast, like you gonna need a suit.
That's for the job.
Facts. Well, man, that's cool, man. I appreciate it, man. We definitely got some of our pet peeves out. We shared some of that, and I feel like that's a question I'm gonna carry on to every episode, man. Honestly, like, yeah, what are y'all? Some of y'all pet peeves from some different cats, because you gonna always get a different answer. But man, shout out to y'all for pulling up, helping out. Howard and Nice, we chopped it up about expectations and some of everything, man. This is a topic where we could have talked all day. Keep it hot, man. But,
Yeah, and all of us are gonna have different expectations too. Like
Facts.
I said, the first thing he initiated was, personal expectations are gonna trump the gig expectations any day.
Facts.
That's pretty cool.
So it's cool, man. Musicians, just to let y'all know, man, it's cool to have expectations. You should. It's more pros than cons. But stay tuned for another episode of Musicians Exchange Podcast Season 2.